Everybody, welcome back. It is part, who's counting anymore? So here we go. Let's stay on bedside manners because I want to talk about ways to manage conflict. Sometimes you just don't have the right personality for your clinician. I've been there, where every question that I ask a physician is seen as a challenge. And here's what I learned. Physicians are taught to be confident in what they know. They're also taught to be confident in what they don't know, and that whatever they believe and that they show confidence in, the patient will believe. So what that creates is a culture of people who don't like to be wrong and don't like to be vulnerable and say that they don't know something. So unfortunately, for some personalities, what that results in is a lot of what feels almost combative or very overly assertive response or attacking, if you will, in their response. So here is one way to handle that, is to ask for a phone call or at your next visit, have the conversation. And you'll know based on their body language, how their eyes twitch or move, their facial expressions, if this is somebody that you feel that you could trust with your life, right? Because that's what it's going to boil down to, right? They're documenting something that the next clinician is going to take at face value in the event of an emergency or you can't make decisions for yourself. You want to make sure that you have trust and confidence and peace about this person you're in relationship with when it comes to your health. Keep in mind, this is a two-way partnership. You are paying them to provide you a service. And so they have they have guidelines, and yes, they study and all this other stuff, but they're in business because you show up. So I think we need to remind clinicians that when you're having this kind of situation, and I think they should just be reminded anyway that they're here to serve. And I said it in another podcast, this truly should be about patient-centered care and not physician-centered patient care, because it's not about the physician, it's about the patient. We say it all the time, but we don't see it. Look at the reviews for every hospital, for different clinical practice. Look at them. They're consistent. And many of them are consistent over years. And it's so heartbreaking to see, like 3 weeks ago, this was posted. And wow, they're still in business. Okay. Like so, okay, always look at reviews before you sign up for a practice. If you care, maybe you're not that kind of person. Maybe you don't care. That's fine. This video is not for you. But for those who care about their experience and don't want the stress of having a lot of foolishness, when it comes to bedside manners for your clinicians, read the reviews. Okay. And read more than one review site. Google reviews are good. Vital, I think it's called Vital Health, Vitals, I think it's called vitals.com or something. The other one is healthgrades.com. There's another one. I feel like USA Today has some sort of reviews on doctors too, but you can look at the reviews and see what people are saying. All right, so how do you handle physician conflict? Let's just call it what it is. If you feel like your personalities don't align, don't delay the inevitable. Just say, hey, doc, I don't know if our personalities aligned. I think you're great. I respect you and your training, but I think when it comes to me, right? Put it on yourself, right? Do the whole relationship breakup thing. Put it on yourself. When it comes to me, I thrive best in these types of medical healthcare relationships. And for whatever reason, I don't feel like we're connecting. And so never ask them for a recommendation, by the way. just say, this is probably going to be my last visit, but I will let you know, officially once I identify a doctor, so that my records can be transferred over. That's one way to do it. If you feel safe. If you just don't feel safe, just change. You don't owe an explanation. Just leave. Just don't come back. Switch the doctor. And if you really are passionate about letting it go and you need help, then write a letter to the practice manager is what I would do. Write a letter to the health system. Let them know what the concerns are and then just move on. That kind of thing. If you need that kind of closure. Some people are just happy to move on, So I just want to point that out. I guess I'm sharing this part because I've lived both sides. I've had wonderful relationships. I had loved my physicians when I lived in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which is where I'm from. but I had the opportunity to live in other places, such as where I am now, and it's just very different. Like, just physician culture, it's just different. So I've had to play a little Tetris until I found the right personality that's going to support my needs in the way that I feel safe and I feel seen as a human being. So keep that in mind if you're dealing with physician behavior. Let's talk about hospitals. Okay, we did a lot of outpatient talk. Let's talk about hospitals. Let's talk about inpatient. Yeah. Where you're not going to see your regular primary care doctor. They typically don't come and visit you. Yeah. In the hospital. So you have someone you've never seen before who doesn't know you, who's now looking at everything at face value. And you're trusting them with your life. You know, in many ways you don't have a choice. But you still have options. You have options. If you find that the phlebotomist who comes to draw blood, let's say if a hospital uses those, is poking around too much and you don't want no blown veins, you have a right to ask them to stop, and you can call for their lead or ask the nurse to come in. But you can decline that and find someone who can actually just hit it and quit it. Second, if the hospitalist you feel like you're not being heard, you're not being seen, you have rights in the hospital. You can ask for the patient advocate to come up. You can ask for the chaplain group to come up. They're good advocates as well. You can ask for the charge nurse. You can ask for the hospital administrator on duty if it needs to get to that level, okay? So they all carry rotations just like doctors do. There's always an administrator on duty. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. There's always an administrator on duty. So that's my advice for inpatient. Typically the types of doctorate level people you'll deal with could be physical therapy, could be the hospitalist, such as the internal medicine doctor, or maybe you're seeing a cardiologist. You might see your specialist. Your specialist might actually round if they have privileges. Your primary care doctor more than likely will not round unless you have a concierge practice and you pay for that extra service. They might come around if you ask them to. Let's see. The pharmacists. There are pharmacists. They're at the doctor level. You may have inpatient clinical pharmacists come and talk to you depending on what you need. You may see anesthesiology. It just depends on what you're there for. Again, slow the pace down. A lot of times they're just trying to get from one patient to the next, and they forget that if they were on the other side, they would want people to make sure that they're being fully present. You feel like your concerns are being answered, and that long pauses don't mean we're done. It just means we're processing the information. Give me an opportunity to speak. Hello, I am sick. So don't expect me to operate at my non-sick norm. Give me an opportunity to process what you're saying. So again, slow the rate down. They may come in with an entourage. Again, you have the right to say you're not interested in students or trainees today or at all. And they have to respect that. Now, you may have some that'll try to violate your rights and say, well, if you don't let me see you, you're going to have to wait hours for the attending. That's punishment, and that's not okay. If you have that, you make sure you know who you're talking to. And again, ask to speak to their attending or the department chair or the chief medical officer or the charge nurse. You can ask for the patient advocate to come up. You can ask for a chaplain. You have so many people that will advocate for you and with you in these hospital settings. You should never feel punished because you don't want to see someone specifically for whatever reason. You know, your safety is important. When you are inpatient, the goal is to get you well enough to be home. And so for the time being, when you're inpatient, this is your home away from home. And so it's important that you feel respected, that you feel seen, that you feel heard in your humanity, and things aren't being done to you that you, one, don't understand, two, that you didn't agree to, or three, that you don't feel safe or comfortable for whatever reason. Another example is a nurse or a medical assistant or somebody walking in with a bag of fluids and you don't know what's in that bag. Ask. Don't let them just start hooking you up. Ask. Oh, how you doing? What's your name? Okay, well, how long have you been doing this? That's how I figure out who's their students. Oh, how long have you been a phlebotomist? Really? Oh, that's great. I feel like I'm in good hands, right? It's a way of gauging. Or straight out ask, are you a student? Are you a trainee? And some people are like, What? No, girl, I got 20 years. And they start, sounding off all their credentials. And I love it. And I said, oh, that's great. I feel so much better. It's nothing against students, just not today. I'm not in that kind of mindset today. I just want to come in. I want to do X, Y, and Z. And I want to be out. Right? And so then people say, oh, I understand, yada, 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 yada. And they'll tell you what you need to know or however the system works. But when it comes to that medication, you need to know what's in that bag. It should never be a surprise that you're getting an antibiotic, especially if you don't take antibiotics. It should never be a surprise that you're getting fluids, that you're getting a certain medication. It should not be a surprise what's happening to you while you or your loved one is inpatient. You should be fully informed of your care. Now, I appreciate that y'all signed general consents in the beginning, yada, 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 but still nothing should be happening that you don't agree with, you don't fully understand, or that you have not been spoken to about. So just keep that in mind. And if it's a matter of life or death, then I would say, choose life. But most of the times, again, most docs want you to feel supported. They want you to feel safe. They want to hear your questions. So just keep that in mind. Now, just a little bit of news. Sometimes we complain about we're in the hospital to get rest and to get better, but we don't sleep because people are coming in our room all times at the wee hours of the morning when we're trying to get sleep, poking us, taking blood pressure. They flip the lights on. Let's talk about why that happened. So one, nobody should just be flipping your light on, especially when it's been out for some time. I always, when I used to coach physicians, would say, hey, knock on the door. This is someone else's home. Hi, this is Dr. So-and-so. Is it okay if I come in? And if you're asleep, it should still be an unalarming knock, gentle knock, and you can use the dimmers. Say, hi, it's Nurse Trudy. It's Nurse Joe. It's Nurse Billy. I'm coming in. I know it's 2 a.m. I'm gonna just turn the dimmers on just for a minute to let your eyes adjust. Talk to them. See how they're feeling. Okay, is it all right if I turn the lights on? I'm here to take vitals. I know it's 2 a.m. Here's why we're drawing at 2 or 3 a.m. Because we need the blood work back by, 4 or 6 a.m. when they start rounds, right? Help people understand why you in there disturbing them and they sleep. Or, hey, you remember you're here for this, so we got to take your blood pressure every hour, every 30 minutes, or we got to come check your fluids. And if people understand the why, they won't be so upset and so resistant and feel frustrated about their inpatient hospital stay. So what is the ask here? The ask is for the clinical team to just communicate. Never assume that the patient knows. Assume that they don't know. At the risk of being redundant, repeat it often, right? And frequently. And I can't remember exact saying how I want to say it, but repeat it more and repeat it often. Whatever the phrase is, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. And so that way it's a consistent message because, again, you're talking about people who don't feel well. They may forget. Oh, yeah, they did say that. And then when they leave the hospital, here's the impression. You know what? That team communicated. That was a rock star team. The handoff was great. The communication was great. Everybody made sure I knew what they was doing, when they was doing it, why they was doing it, about what time. If there was a delay, they let me know. It is possible. But here's the thing. Customer service is work. And it takes time. And it can be exhausting. Repeating yourself as if it's the first time you said it. And you have to do it with a big smile on your face. Right? But this is what you signed up for. Right? You signed up to do no harm and to ensure that people have the best possible experience. So let's work together in our health system on both sides. Patients, we have to do our part. Clients, we have to do our part. Clinicians, we have to do our part. It really takes everybody doing their part to create a seamless experience, a safe experience, and an experience that says, you know what, I trust my care team and I want to come back. So I hope these are some tips and strategies on the inpatient side you can use to navigate difficult physician behavior, but also to celebrate those that are doing a great job. Tell them thank you. You'd be surprised how often they may not hear that. I remember telling someone, a nurse I was working alongside, I said, I just want to let you know I've been watching you. And I see this. And I literally had specific examples. It wasn't just, oh, good job, thank you. No, it was none of that watered down stuff. It was specific examples. I said, I saw you do this and you handled this. And I just want to say, I want to commend you for that. I want to let you know that I see you and I appreciate you. And this is what makes the unit thrive. Because we did it. And I literally, she was in tears. And she said, I have worked here for 20 years and I've never heard thank you. So come on, we gotta do better for each other. Tell your colleague when they do something great, not just when they do something wrong. Tell them when they do something great. And that goes across the board and at all levels. When we feel respected and appreciated, we'll do more. We'll work harder. That fatigue don't set in so quick because we feel valued. And so we each have to do our part. Not just patients and providers, but providers to support staff to each other, support staff to provider, hospital administration to staff, and vice versa. Like, let's just be human and let's slow down enough to demonstrate that we care and that we see people and that we want the best for them and that we're here to listen and communicate. So this is a podcast that is letting you know that you can speak up and you can ask questions. Did you know that? And it goes both ways. As clinicians, we want to say, help me understand. Tell me more about that. You want to listen for things like that. That lets you know your provider, oh, he got a good heart. Oh, she got a good heart. But again, if you have someone that the chemistry's just not there, you can request someone else. You can request another physician and they will swap it out. There's usually more one hospitalist on call. So you have options. That's what I want you to know. Did you know? That's what this series is all about this month and next month. Did you know? And there's been posts about did you know? But this particular podcast series that I'm actually vocalizing is focusing on you and your rights in the healthcare system. I am the plant-based nutritionista. This is my podcast, In the Kitchen with the Plant-Based Nutritionista. We talk all things health, wellness, fitness, and right now we're talking about the importance of speaking up for yourself and owning your healthcare journey because you matter. All right, guys, until next time.